12:03 on the Oil Stream, brought to you by Boston Pizza, where kids eat for free in September. You gotta love that one. Hey, I'll take the birthday boy, Tommy Gazzola, for some Boston Pizza celebrations later on today. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah. Hey, on Wednesday, Oil Stream's going to Sherwood Park.
Yep.
Sherwood Park, not the first location we went to, the other one.
Oh, okay. The first one we went to, remember we were like almost imposing on their territory?
Yeah. I remember
the regulars
we
were
felt like we were
clowns?
we felt everybody's gonna be really mad at us for being there. Yeah.
But it was actually a good night.
No, we're mixing it up on Wednesday, 11 Broadway Boulevard in Sherwood Park.
Perfect.
That's where we will be, the Broadway BPs in Sherwood Park. I'll be there for the lock shop as well, and then we'll get rolling in with the Oil Stream at noon.
And then we're at South Fort Chev too,
October
right?
4th.
That's October 4th. I saw the promo picture. Hilarious.
Yeah.
You and Rick in your lederhosen. Looking sharp.
Yeah, thanks, man. We posed for that.
Yes.
It looks really good. The best my body's looked in 10 years.
Very svelte.
I said to Claire at South Fort Chev, I said, thank you very much for putting my body on there, or putting my head on that beautiful Oktoberfest body.
And then
that should be pretty good.
Watch party this Friday at Century.
That's right. Friday night, Elks Bombers. Huge game. Kind of got to save the season with that one. Matt says, hey guys, just a heads up, there are 2 links for EST Afternoons and Reed Wilkins. Trev, you know what that means? Is that a YouTube thing? Trev, did you screw this up?
Uh-oh.
I've got this. Zach had asked me to do it for him, to schedule it.
So I did it.
And then he also scheduled it.
A classic mix-up by 2 friends.
Classic.
After he told me to do it. So I guess I wasn't fast enough. That's what that was.
All
but
right.
he's deleted it.
He's yelling sorry.
That's Zach's fault.
It's Zach's
Minus
fault.
2, Zach.
Minus
2.
Minus 2.
No, you're going to make him cry.
No, that's okay. Preseason action to get to. Oilers win last night. We'll dive into that game. Split squad tonight. We'll take a look at the 2 rosters. A little bit of intrigue on who's where and who's going to play and how it's all going to work. We'll definitely get into that. If you want to chime in on the game last night, if you watched it, feel free. But yeah, if you're out in the East End or Sherwood Park, we will be live at Boston Pizza, Sherwood Park, Broadway BPs at noon on Wednesday. Looking forward to getting out and about with the season just around the corner. Look, before we get into this, and I know it's the Oil Stream, but the Elks game on Saturday. We can tie it in. McDavid and Draisaitl over there. Checking out how big and fast the Edmonton Elks are. Unfortunately, they're bad luck charm, I guess. Too much pressure on Trey Ford with 97 and 29 in the house, and for that reason, he played poorly in that football game.
Among other reasons. But I don't know. It was a frustrating night if you're an Elks fan watching that game, because
decent crowd too.
Good crowd and good vibe. Shout out to everybody at the tailgate. That was fantastic as always. And I don't know, Dusty, like I remember as I was watching the game and I was sitting there with Murray, I'm like, Murray, man, the offense can't get past half. It feels like it was sputtering. And then, Trey, the 6 turnovers were awful. Trey even said he didn't play that well. And I think of that interception where it went into the hands of Rankin and bounced off of him, and he said hit his head. And
it went right off. It went through his hands and off his helmet. That's why it's bounced so high in the air.
It was juicy. It was just ripe for the pickings. And I think when that pick happened, I was like, I don't feel like this is going to be the Elks' night. And as good as the defense played, they just couldn't get anything going. And that's a testament to how well Winnipeg's playing, how strong their defense has been. And then, Brady Oliveira was just pummeling them on the ground. But Rankin was great on the ground for the Elks. And it's good to see that they have this run game. And I mean, they have a 3-headed monster. Brown only had 26 yards on 5 rushes. We'll see, Leak isn't expected to be back this week, right?
I'm not sure about that one.
We'll see.
Brown, 26 on 5 isn't bad for Brown. You give him 20 carries, it's a 100-yard game.
But it was Rankin.
Rankin was just a beast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought if they're going to get the split, it would have happened, with a win Saturday at Commonwealth. They're in tough against the Bombers at Princess Auto Stadium. But who knows? Maybe they are motivated by the home loss and they get back on track.
It was added motivation for the Oilers in preseason to beat the Jets. Take that.
Yeah.
Right? You can't own all the sports.
All those longtime Oilers that played last night that are deeply devoted to the city of Edmonton.
Those
and
really deep roots.
Pride here.
Who was the longest serving Oiler in that game? Raphael Lavoie?
Well, he
might
is
have
on
been.
our
He's been
cover.
around the organization long enough.
Yeah, I guess he
He
would
might.
be.
He might have been.
Well, Rodrigue's been around.
Rodrigue's
a
been
little
around.
while, and Rodrigue grew up here because his dad was with the team.
So yeah, maybe there's a tie there.
Yeah. There wasn't much for like deeply rooted Oiler history. In the lineup.
Jess Jackson,
Our
a beauty.
Jess.
She was at the Estes. Put your birthday suit on, Tommy. Happy birthday, bud.
All right.
That means get naked. Tommy, leave your gear on. Unbelievable. Jess, are you not in a Bell building right now? That has got to be against some sort of code of
Some
conduct.
kind of
some sort of
HR
code of
violation.
conduct. I got to go over there this afternoon.
Do you?
Yeah, I got to go into the old building to try to figure out my email. It's been all it's all gone wonky.
Remember they would make us change like the password.
Well, that's the thing.
every-
Here's the issue. I thought I had, so they've like migrated our Bell emails to something else.
Uh-oh.
So my phone stopped working. It was the only way I could get my email because I can't sign into it if I'm not in the building, and I
Right.
never go in the building.
Right.
So all of a sudden it kicks out on me. So I go over to the building, and this is sounds bad, but a bunch of people who I couldn't remember were helping me, and they were great, but I couldn't remember them. So I kind of felt like a prick, a prick, and then I had to log into the computer, and I tried to log in with my password, and I logged in 5 different times. And
shut you out.
It shut me out. So I'm going back over today, and I should probably find how to call somebody to reset my password.
I had to do that before.
That's going to take forever.
Yeah, it took a while.
But I thought I had the password in my phone, but it's not working.
You have to answer a bunch of questions. You have to talk to them.
That's the last thing I want. I don't
like
even
you-
technically know who my manager is anymore. Like,
I don't think you have one.
so I don't know. I'm kind of like a lone wolf.
You are. Oh,
Yeah, walking around the city, howling at the Canadian Football League, and that's it. So
that's a good problem.
anyway, a little bit of a hassle coming my way
Email
today.
thing.
Yeah.
I always found
Why
that
does
email to
have
be quite
so
difficult.
But why?
They just made it that way.
But like email in general should be super easy.
You want to hear what's
It's
crazy?
an email. My God.
You want to hear what's crazy? God bless him. He's on holidays right now, but Owanek could probably fix it. Still,
He probably could. Well, I
That's
don't know.
how
This
good he
is a
is.
total new. So I don't know. I'm gonna go over. I'm just gonna put my phone down to
Say
somebody
hi
and be
to
like,
people that we
"Fix
do know
this,
over there."
please. I don't. Yeah, I barely know anybody over there
say hi to
anymore.
Jess. Say
Well,
hi
that's
to,
the thing. I'll go in and say hi to
Jack.
Jess. That's it.
Say hi to, well,
I think
CTV people.
Well, I didn't go on the TV side when we worked there.
Yeah, I know.
So
I would go over
I'll
there.
sneak in and out.
See Ken.
Try to
Ken-
fix my email. We'll see what happens. Lars Weiss says, guys, anybody else having an issue with YouTube not flipping over? I don't think so. I think YouTube
Mine's working.
flipped over just fine. Yeah, it seems to be going fine, Lars. You're here. I mean,
Hello.
is autoplay on? We can get into that a little bit. Somebody else here. I got to get to this. What's this?
What's going on?
Penner's Pancake says, also should mention that Shoggy was pretty hurt. He's not getting an invite to the Estes. Wait a second here.
Where did he say this?
Well, it must have been on
Must have
Guy
been on
Back.
Got Your Back last night.
Second of all, Shoggy goes MIA for like 3 months.
Right.
He doesn't even show up for his actual job.
He's golfing right now.
Now he's expecting us to invite him to the Estes. He doesn't even show up to his regular job. You think he's going to come to the Garneau Theater on a Tuesday night for the Estes?
Well,
Plus, he wasn't nominated for anything.
he's certainly invited, I guess. Like,
Yeah, I guess. I don't think he would have shown even if we invited him.
no, he'd be like, "Oh, thanks for the
chance.
invite, but no, I got better things to do. I appreciate it." That's exactly the response he would give us.
That is probably, hey, thanks guys, but no, I'm too busy.
But he tries to turn
I'm
it on
not
us like
taking
that.
this. Well, you know what will probably happen? Strutty was probably talking about winning an Esty.
Great.
And then
winner.
Shoggy probably said, I didn't even get an invite to the Estes.
Well,
That's probably how it all went down. Huh?
Shoggy was not nominated.
Yeah.
The mandate is back, right?
Look, work. Yeah, he'll be back,
He'll be back.
Monday. No, he'll not Monday. We don't have shows. The following Monday, he'll be back.
Yeah.
Which is right before the regular season starts. All of our hockey insiders will return next week. And we've got Drags is back.
Excellent.
Button is back.
Excellent.
Noodles is back.
Excellent.
Gazdick is going to be on our show twice a month.
Fantastic.
Reed Wilkins show twice a month. And then
Estes winner.
Mike Johnson, who's a beauty. I love MJ.
Love Johnny.
He's traveling all the time. He's like, Dusty, he goes, you could hit me up like for one here or there. He goes, but it became tough last year with traveling after Thursday night games and stuff. So we've actually replaced Mike Johnson with Chris Johnson.
Ah,
So
CJ.
that'll be good. CJ is very fired up to do it. So he's going to join us on Friday. So and then Shoggy on Mondays. Pretty nice little lineup. I think we got going
a
again
great
for hockey
lineup.
season. So it should be pretty good.
I like Mike Tanier and seeing him
Tanier's
on
a beauty,
camera. I
buddy.
was watching this morning and I was like, this guy's awesome. Like, because we would talk to him before at the old shop. but it wasn't the same kind of connection.
No, it was different. And we had him on last year here on the phone the entire time as well.
No, he was great. He's very pleasant, and I think he gets the vibe of our station. And he certainly has a good rapport with you. By the way, on Friday, Rick and I were a little bit disappointed with Herm.
Well, I saw that. That was tough. I'm not too heartbroken.
I can tell.
I want to be the first one to talk to him.
Yes, you will be,
but I did not
obviously.
sabotage it.
I know.
did not.
That was Rick's thing.
When I talked to him a couple days ago, or before, he did say he was going to be in Texas. So I was wondering if maybe his time zones would be a little bit.
It's all good. It's all good. We had a great show.
You guys got through it.
It was a lot of fun. We had a great. I love working with Rick.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, how convenient. Herm's not available, and would have been him and Dusty's first time together. And we really hit on the fact that you guys call each other now.
Yeah, we're tight. He just phones me all the time.
We said it's a threat to suits now.
The other night, I phoned Herm Edwards Sunday night last night, and I just said, "Hey Herm, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, hey Dusty, how was your day?" That's a pretty good, Herm. What are you doing right now? So I said to him. No, that's
that is
not
a
it.
terrible phone
That's
call.
not it. The real not so Slim Shady is in and says, you guys don't need to lower the standards to Rashog. If he wants to get a special invite, he needs to step up his game and earn a damn nomination. Ooh. Fair point. You want to do something? Win guest of the year. You're on once a week.
Yeah.
Right? You got to step your game up, man.
He's got some good ones. He gets a little spicy.
It says, he's probably mad that you didn't give him the chance to reject you.
Touche.
That's a good point as well.
Strutty brought it up. Rashog considered having his own awards afterwards. You can't. Copying. Come on.
Award-winning normology, as he's now labeled.
Yes.
Shoggy has no chance at winning at SD. God. Award-winning
so
normology.
Fun.
Well done, buddy. I love the updated handle there.
So good.
All right, so we don't have line combinations for tonight just yet. Do we have all of them?
Gregor put something out there.
Do we have all the line combinations, or just some of them?
Patty Steinberg has the.
Steinberg has the full. He has the lines, or does he have the full? I know that both rosters are out there. The home and away split. We'll get into that as we work our way through the show today. But Tommy, let's go back to last night. The Oilers. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but can anybody stop this team? They didn't even dress the big boys.
They didn't dress,
and they come away with an overtime victory.
They didn't even dress the medium-sized boys.
Well, Podkolzin would be considered slightly medium-sized.
Yeah, he would be.
I think
but, that's fair. And Emerson, it was good to see him, and kind of Rodrigue to get a look at how he's progressed, although they only give him half the game. Colin Delia played the second half. I came as advertised. I think overall, there were some guys that definitely stood out that you were hoping would stand out, especially if you're an Oiler fan. I liked Emerson, and he should have been better than ever. He was very smooth. He was paired up with Dermott, and then I also liked.
He should be in this situation, right?
Exactly. Like he was supposed to be one of the better defensemen. He was one of the better defensemen. He had a veteran NHL guy with him. They looked smooth all night. They didn't really have a lot of issues. It's not like the Winnipeg Jets had a great lineup last night either. So it was a lot of AHL content, a lot of rookies and stuff like that. But having said that, I really am more and more impressed with Sam O'Reilly. This is a guy the Oilers traded up into the first round to get 32nd overall. I had a chance to chat with him post-game last night. They were scrumming Raphael Lavoie, and then they went over to talk to another player, and then I saw O'Reilly just sitting there waiting, and I'm like, I just want to kind of get a sense of this guy. And I watched some of him in Penticton. I liked what I saw. He played with Matt Savoy a lot. Savoy's another guy that when he did have his touches yesterday looked pretty good, as he should, Dusty.
Yeah.
I think that's worth noting. But O'Reilly scoring that goal last night, I thought, good heads up. They catch him with a pass up the middle. He splits the D, and then a nice little tuck between Eric Comrie and the defenseman. And I asked him, first of all, I think he's a pretty, I'd say beauty type of guy.
Okay.
Like just a straight up hockey player. And I really appreciated that. Very easy to talk to and very rambunctious and excited, appreciative of the opportunity he's being given. But I asked him about like the level of play last night compared to Penticton, and he goes, in all honesty, it was kind of easier to play in this game tonight compared to those games in Penticton. And I said, I'm assuming it has to do with more pro guys and the flow and a little bit sharper. And he goes, exactly. And I'm like, well, that's got to be a good sign if it feels easier to play in this type of game compared to a Penticton tournament where it's rookies and guys are just kind of thrown together and haven't really gotten any time to be established with one another. And not to say that, listen, the lineup that the Oilers rolled out last night, those guys don't really know each other that well either. But he said that level of play was more in line with an easier to play in than what we saw in Penticton. So I think that's a good sign too, right?
100%. For a guy who's just as raw as he is,
correct,
to feel better playing at this level, that's a very good sign.
Yeah.
Very good signs. For a lot of guys, now he's a first round pick. There's different expectations. For a lot of those guys, even at the prospect thing, they looked overwhelmed. Whereas, he slides in here, it's easier to play because it's being played at a higher proper level.
Yeah.
And that just shows that he's closer to the higher proper level, which is, it's exciting to see.
Yeah. He talked about Matt Savoie and his skill level, and he said the guy's incredible. And I think we all anticipate Savoie being a longtime Oiler. And we'll see how he continues to progress through training camp. But the other thing with O'Reilly too, I was like, how did it go at the draft? Because I remember I was watching some of it. It looked cool. It was at the Sphere. He said that place was amazing.
Yeah.
It was like being in a real life VR headset. You guys got to go see a show there.
It was cool.
Yeah. And then he goes, he told the story. He goes, it was getting late in the draft. I hadn't been picked. And, my parents were like, oh, crap. Like, we're going to have to come back tomorrow and we'll see where I get picked, if I get picked, yada, yada. And then he goes, then I hear the Oilers trade up. And I knew because they said to me, if I'm around and they have a pick, they're going to take me. And he said he had a great meeting with the Oilers. He really liked Rick Pracey. Pracey obviously liked him. And he's like, so they trade up. And I'm like, I've got a pretty good chance. I think I'm going here. I didn't say anything to my parents.
But he didn't tell his mom and dad?
And then sure enough, they pick him last pick of the first round. And he goes, it was just awesome. It was so good. So that's a great little story. And the enthusiasm he had telling that story, I was like, this kid's great. And then he said I said, have you had some holy crap moments?
Yeah.
And he goes, well, McDavid and Draisaitl, man. And I'm like, yeah. He goes, I would watch these guys. I would watch McDavid, and you see the little things he does on TV and in the highlights.
He would have been watching McDavid since he was 9 years old.
Exactly.
That's crazy. Like since he was Marshall's age.
Yeah.
That's how long he's been watching Connor McDavid.
Exactly.
Which is weird to say. That's weird.
Had that epiphany in my head. I'm like, oh my God, yeah. And he goes, then you see him when you're on the ice with him, and all that stuff he does on TV that you're like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. You look at him and you're like, I don't know how he's doing this in real life right in front of me. It's unbelievable. And I'm like, yeah, that's Connor McDavid. He goes, it's wild. And he's talking about the locker room and everything and, being in awe of all these guys around him. But now he's among his peers as he continues and begins his journey as a member of the Oilers and continues his hockey journey. So was really impressed with him, had a nice 5-minute chat with him. Then they had to do the scrum with him. I think the Oilers got a good one, and hopefully it's only onwards and upwards for Sam O'Reilly and the Oil. And I was talking to some of the hockey ops guys in the second intermission. I said, what's the ceiling on this guy? And, obviously early projection, but he could be a second-line NHLer. He can do a lot of different things.
That's the top end, right? Like,
very versatile, and, he's obviously a lot of refinement to his game that needs to occur. And but here in Edmonton, there's a logjam at center, but he could be a third-line center that moves up and moonlights in the top six from time to time. But they're very eager to see how he progresses, and just talking to him, how you get a good vibe off of someone, just talking to him. I definitely got that, and glad I went and said hello. And good kid.
If you have any questions coming out of last night's game, we're going to dive into it a little bit more. 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. You can also hit us up over in the Nasty Chat on YouTube if you're watching over there. Hammer the thumbs up for us if you wouldn't mind. That would be great. The Oil Stream is brought to you by Boston Pizza. Our kids eat for free the entire month of September. So Jerry Mancini says, Dusty and Tommy, I'm having a baby girl this December. Haven't decided on a name yet.
Oh.
Any names you consider? And I said, you could call her Estelle, and you could call her Esty for short.
Oh.
Or somebody else suggested Celeste, and you could call her Esty for short.
Yeah.
And then somebody else suggested, I think it was Rip City Step, Bartholomew for a middle name. So we've got it. It's Celeste Bartholomew Mancini. Tell me that's not a sick name.
That's beautiful.
That's a sick name. They call her Little Esty.
Little Esty.
You bring her by when she's born. Oh, Little Esty. We'll
adorable.
put her on the show right here, Little Esty.
Yeah. Should be our Esty award for everybody in Jerry Mancini.
Look, man, my daughter's name has essentially been legally changed to the Muzz.
The Muzz, yeah.
So Esty's not that bad. Esty's not that bad. The other day, before they went to the Elks game, my dad and the Muzz made a bet. My dad gave her some odds. She had the Elks. He had the Bombers.
Okay.
And they signed a contract for the bet. My dad's all about contracts.
I know.
Stuff. So anyway.
He's very good at that
so
stuff.
he signs a contract with my 7-year-old daughter. And she signs it. She goes, he's like, you need to sign here. And she reaches down and signs it. The Muzz.
I love that.
I don't even know if she knows her name is Elizabeth anymore. It's funny. So yeah, what I'm saying, I guess, is Esty's not that bad.
No.
You could probably make that work. All right, last night. How about Philp? What do you think about Philp? Wins 9 of his 12 faceoffs. I said this morning on the Smash Hit Nielsen show when we were going over 5 things from this hockey game last night. Being a big right shot center who can win faceoffs, that alone might be enough to get you on the Oilers at some point this season. You know what? Like it's and now statement. I think what needs to happen is he needs to go down and get 30 or 40 games under his belt in the American League.
Yes.
Just play hockey again. But am I simplifying it too much? Like he's younger than Ryan and Perry. He gets around the ice better than these two guys. He's a 6'3" center.
Yep.
If he can win faceoffs, there's a spot for him on the fourth line here at Edmonton, whether it's due to injury or, he plays his way out of the American League up here. I'm not saying it's an automatic. If he doesn't happen this year, I'm not going to be like, wow, what happened to Philp? I'm just saying that he's got the package that I think would eventually lead to some playing time in Edmonton.
A different journey, certainly, for Philp, too. An interesting story. Obviously, lots of ties here to Edmonton, Golden Bear. There are intangibles that he brings to the table that make him enticing to this team. He was tracking Dusty 2 seasons ago to be a call-up and to get that first NHL opportunity. Obviously,
he would have got that this past year if he was playing. Yeah,
quite likely. Life threw him curveballs, and he went and took care of what he needed to take care of, put himself into a good space mentally, and got back into the game, which is great to see. The night that he had yesterday, winning 75% of his draws, he had that really good chance late in the game off the rebound, just couldn't get it past or over the pad of Comrie. That's good. That's encouraging. And, I was told if he continues to play the way he did in the second half of the season 2 years ago, he would be back in the mix for a call-up because of all the things you say. Skates well, right shot, centerman, bigger body guy, if he's willing to go to the hard areas and muck and earn the ice that he gets, then there's a lot of reason to think that maybe he could be a fourth-line center at some point. Now, we're a long way away from the start of the regular season. We have a lot to get to in terms of preseason games and camp and all that, but this is a guy that might put himself back at the forefront of a call-up, and yesterday was a good indicator, among a lot of other good signs from other players too. But yeah, this is a guy that could be back in the mix, and I think a lot of people are rooting for him too. We spoke with him the other day. Nice kid, smart kid, and he could play. So let's see what he can do in Bakersfield and give him 30 or 40 games like you mentioned. If he continues to track the way he did a couple seasons ago, which is tough too. Step away from the game.
Yeah, man. I've not played hockey for a full year. Yeah. If he's playing NHL games at any point this year, it's a remarkable story.
Yes.
It really is.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from him, but that would be a great story.
But, let's say by December or January, he's playing well down in Bakersfield and all reports are good. And what's to say he can't do what Derek Ryan provides, or Corey Perry. And Corey Perry, former Hart winner and all that stuff. Like
little bit different.
A little bit different.
Just because he can play a prickish role that I don't think Philp technically has in his game.
Yeah, exactly. But Perry's done it all in the world of hockey. So this is a guy that's an intriguing story. Let's see how he does. Lots of hockey to be played, but yesterday was a good sign. And I think he for a guy that missed a full season, is looking all right.
Raphael Lavoie, according to the lineup that Gregor put out, Lavoie will play with Draisaitl and Podkolzin tonight. We'll get to Podkolzin in a second. That's another thing that we talked about this morning. Lavoie scoring that goal, the way that he scored that goal. Is there anything that gets people more excited, buddy, than a one-timer on an off wing on a power play?
One that they don't
by
possess.
A prospect.
Yeah.
Yeah. That gets people fired up.
That's his gravy. That's his bread and butter, right? Like, that was just the icing on top. But Lavoie should have been one of the best Oilers last night, just given how he's played in Bakersfield the last couple of years. Finally got his first look in the NHL last year. I think the 7 games was a terrible time for the team. So, that's not on him. But I think, he wants to send a message to everyone and remind them that he's still kicking around and he wants to be an NHL player. He talked about that post-game, and rightly so. And that goal is, a bit of a statement on his part. So good for him. I mean, there's a lot to like Philp, Dusty.
Yeah.
He's a big body guy, can score, and has done it at the AHL level. I was surprised that he stayed with Edmonton and didn't take a flyer somewhere else where he might be able to get into an NHL roster and play more games and have a chance to establish himself, because even just looking at him, this is an uphill battle here.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. The problem for him is kind of identified even more by his goal last night. At what point will he ever get a chance to do that in Edmonton? The one-timer on a power play from his off wing.
Well,
it's PP2.
Power play 2 is a myth.
But even if that's the thing, and even if it was, he wasn't going to be on it with the guys that they have right now. Like it would have been. So I just, that's why I've always kind of viewed him as a bit of a tweener, because he's not good enough to take a top 6 job from anybody here. No. And you can save they should just give him a chance in there. No,
they won't.
Look where they're at right now. They're not giving Raphael Lavoie a chance in their top 6 if they're healthy. That's what has to happen for him. A couple guys need to get hurt. He needs to have a great start in the American League and then get called up and take advantage of it. Like, that's probably his only path to an eventual job here. No slight to the player.
None.
But that's probably what it is, just in reality. Yeah. Like the goal he scored last night, you said it. That's his bread and butter. His bread and butter, he'll never get an opportunity to do in a legitimate opportunity here in Edmonton.
Correct.
It's just not going to happen.
No, and that's a totally valid point. I know there's still some people that really want him to be up with the big club, but the type of player that he is and the strengths of his game, they have that already up here. Where there are holes, and we just talked about it, is bottom 6 guys. And bottom 6 guys, penalty kill, they check, they play heavy hockey, and they're not known for their offense. Now, if he could play heavy hockey, check, maybe penalty kill, I think we're having a different conversation. And I don't think that's the strength of his game, or at least it's not perceived to be. So it's a tough spot for him, but who knows? Crazy things can happen. Maybe he gets called up and catches fire or something like that. But I was surprised when he re-signed with the Oil. Let's see what he's going to have to be. He's going to be the best player on the Condors, or one of them. And then maybe he gets a shot. Maybe he gets called up at some point, or maybe another team really likes him, scouts him, and makes a trade for him.
This text is in and says, pencil Lavoie in on the PP4.
Yeah. Well, geez.
I wouldn't even be surprised if he scores another goal on the power play in the preseason the same way.
Yeah.
But it's just...
Great shot.
5 guys get to play on the power play on this team. That's it. Another guys gets sprinkled in a little bit here and there.
Yeah, and mop up.
That's just how it works. Podkolzin. Think of him last night.
Okay. The overtime goal, I think, is a great example of what Podkolzin can be for you. He makes a big hit to get the puck back on in the defensive zone in OT, and he helps create that odd man rush the other way, which eventually leads to the goal. So I went to read at the press box in the second intermission. I'm like, hey, what do you think of Podkolzin? Because I'm like, he's made a couple of rushes, taken a couple of shots. He's just kind of been there. And, this is one of those nights where you expect him to be like a guy that gets your attention. But Reed kind of replied, well, he goes, isn't this kind of his game? He's supposed to be a strong checking, hard-nosed type of guy, not really going to wow you with his offense. And I was like, yeah, that's a good point, Reed. And then he goes in OT and he makes a really nice, strong hit, gets the puck back because he creates a turnover. And then the Oil go back 200 feet the other way, and he helps lead the charge, and they get the winner. So intriguing, and this is a guy that isn't, again, expected to be an offensive dynamo. Like Dusty, if he can get you anywhere close to 10 goals this year and maybe another 10 assists as a third, fourth line guy, that's more than what Dylan Holloway gave you last year.
That's true. Yeah.
I know Holloway was banged up too.
But still, I mean, but that's a part of it. Like staying healthy is an important thing, right? Like that helps you establish yourself and allows a team to eventually rely on you. And it gives you more of a chance to get your, like if Holloway could have stayed healthy, he might still be here.
Yep.
Because he would have had more time to develop and prove his worth and become more confident in himself and become a better player. Like staying healthy is a big part of it. So, I didn't want to just sit here all the time and be like, well, Holloway's banged up. Yeah, but stay healthy then. It's just
fair.
What's the saying? What's the saying that everybody always says?
Which one?
Availability. There's a sports saying here. The most important ability is availability. And I think in some situations, that's a legitimate case.
Yeah.
So, and now Podkolzin apparently will get a shot with Draisaitl tonight.
And Lavoie.
Yeah. So both those guys have an opportunity tonight.
That's here in Edmonton. That line should be pretty damn good tonight. And then Patty Steinberg, I mean, here's what they're getting from the Flames according to Pat Steinberg.
Let's do it with the spicy headlines for Popeyes, Trev. Throw Popeyes up there. I had a Popeyes classic chicken sandwich over the weekend. It was absolutely delicious. You know what else I got? I got some of the Parm garlic wings. Boneless.
So good.
Boneless Parm garlic wings. Pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Pretty darn good. Available at Popeyes in a bunch of different flavors. I went with the Parm and garlic, and
they're saucy.
It was good. It was very saucy. It was very saucy. I opened up the thing. It was like the 4 little boneless chicken wings, or 6 little boneless chicken wings were looking up at me in the sauce. They're like, help me, I'm drowning in all this sauce. And I was like, I got you, little buddy. So that's
delicious
my Popeyes story from the weekend. All right, so let's get into tonight's game.
Okay.
Split squad game. Calgary and Edmonton, both teams could win, both teams could lose. One team could win twice. That's the joy of a split squad preseason game.
It's crazy.
What are we looking at tonight?
What are we looking at? Oilers or Flames?
Let's get Flames first, and then we'll dive into the Oilers.
Okay, this comes via our good friend Pat Steinberg over at Fan 960. A Flames morning skate for tonight's road split squad game in Edmonton. Pospisil between Huberdeau and Mantha. That was their big signing, Anthony Mantha.
Well, Pospisil they're trying to give a bump to here, obviously, a little bit.
Yeah.
They got to have a couple guys. We had Danny Austin on today, and he said that's one of the couple of guys that's got to step up for him. So.
All right, well, he's going to get a chance with Huberdeau and Mantha. Rooney between Siona and Dewar. That Walker Dewar is a tough kid. He plays hard hockey. Kirkland between Honzek and Coronado. And then everyone knows Lipinski, who's centering the fourth line between Bishop and potentially Misa/Battaglia.
I love that guy, Lipinski.
Look out. On defense for the Flames tonight in Edmonton, according to Pat Steinberg, Jared Tenorti, who got a 2-way deal with Rasmus Andersson, Yermo with Brustowitz, I hope I'm saying it right, and then Kuznetsov with Muse. In goal, Cooley backed up by Murphy.
Let's just say it's a good thing you're not on the call tonight, Tommy.
You don't like Brustowitz?
It's probably the name. Brustowitz?
Brustowitz?
Who knows?
Brustowitz.
Nobody knows ever.
Well, if it's like Polish or German where W's are pronounced as V's, then it's Brustowitz.
You need to do what they need to do. Like if it's just on the radio broadcast night, to do what Rod Peterson used to do.
What?
Rod would literally plant a completely made up name in the preseason Riders broadcast and see if anybody picked up on it.
I'm sure people did catch it.
Well, I don't know. It's different because in CFL, like sometimes we're just in like 80 guys sometimes. It's just like, be like, oh, Roberts, huge catch. And nobody would be like, there's no Roberts.
DeMarcus
just get away with
Roberts.
it. Like, it's kind of funny.
Sounds
actually.
right.
Yeah.
So there's your lineup from the Flames. according to Pat Steinberg, coming to Edmonton.
All right. What about Edmonton? Edmonton.
The home game.
The home side, Edmonton.
Our old colleague and friend Jason Greger put this out there. McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl, like Dusty was talking about, between Podkolzin and Lavoie. Philp getting another shot, third line center with Matvei Petrov and Corey Perry. Then Wakely between Clattenburg and Griffith. There was somebody going back like 3 years on the post-game show that would always text in saying the Oilers need to get Seth Griffith up. He is the spark plug that they need.
That was a long time ago now.
That was. Yeah. And then I think they called him up a couple of years ago and he played like 3 minutes in the game. And I was like, okay. On defense for the Oilers, Ekholm with Bouchard, Hoffenmeyer with Kemp, and then either Corcoran and Kanek, or pardon me, Corcoran and Kanek Leipert as the third pairing. Rodriguez in goal with Unger backing him up.
So PP1's together.
PP1's
so it sucks to be anybody who's trying to earn a penalty killing job on the Flames and gets a couple of looks tonight.
Well, that's where Lipinski's going to have to step up.
Look, you know what they should do tonight? Just to drive the people wild.
Yeah.
Nuge should not play on PP1, and Raphael Lavoie should get the half wall on PP1.
You're trolling.
And just be getting one tease from McDavid on the other side of the ice.
You are trolling.
I'm just pointing out obvious opportunities. Right?
Okay.
That being said, Jesse Puljujarvi never got those wing side opportunities.
Oh.
So there's no way Raphael Lavoie should either.
Didn't he score a hat?
He had a hat trick.
Yeah.
We played the song this morning.
He's back, baby.
Yeah, and did you see how he scored the goals?
No, I didn't.
One was a tip in front. The other one, puck came to him just above the hash marks, and he sniped it. And then the third one, he actually bust around Owen Power, held him off, and then drug it and backhanded around, then fell and slid heavily into the boards. But all of the offense, nobody else in the Penguins scored. So shout out my boy JP. You're not done yet.
Yeah, they got smacked around
7-3. They lost 7-3.
I was gonna make the joke. It's a terrible joke, and I don't buy it. But you know, there are those out there that are probably thinking, "Yeah, Dusty, he's playing AHL caliber hockey, and he's excelling just like you expect him to."
Yeah, except we're gonna sit here and talk about Philp becoming a player for the Oilers because.
Great point.
You know what I mean? Like
I know. It's that time of
enough's
year.
enough. Enough's enough. Let the guy have some success somewhere
else. Stigma. Church.
My goodness. All right. So what do we make of this? The Edmonton combinations for tonight?
Dominant and should have their way with the Flames. So anybody making their way to Rogers Place tonight, enjoy the show. Again, keeping an eye on Philp just to see how he handles things. I mean, he's not going to very similar lineup in a lot of ways to what Winnipeg brought in yesterday. Although the top line, you know, that for the Flames should be decent with Pospisil, Mantha, and Huberdeau. I said it. I like Walker Dewar. I think he's a hard-nosed NHLer. And then, you know, the defense they're going up against, Rasmus Anderson and Jared Tenorti are really the only NHL caliber D-men that you're looking at, really. So,
okay, let me ask you this: if Lavoie or Podkolzin play really well tonight with Leon Draisaitl, does it mean anything?
Does it mean anything? Yes, it means that, you know, they've found their game and they're in a good spot and should continue to build on that. But if we're inferring that they should be fighting for jobs in the top six, then we're being delusional. But if they have good games, they should have good games. I think that's good for their confidence to get them going, make a nice push to the regular season. We'll probably see Lavoie get sent down late in training camp, and Podkolzin, if he continues to play well, he will tantalize the fan base and then hopefully settle into a strong third, fourth line role.
Carmen Gill on the Nasty Chat says, guys, what did you think of Emerson last night? I thought he was very good, best D-man on the ice, and very good at passing too, which is a surprise.
Yeah, I would agree with Carmen on that. And given the level of competition, plus he was paired up with Dermott and the level of competition that they faced, he looked smooth. They were the best D-men on the ice.
Yeah, and he should be.
And that's a good sign.
It's as simple as, that's
good.
He should, if he's not one of the best two defensemen on the ice last night, then you're like, oh. So, you know, first test passed for Emerson.
Yeah,
and let's see how it is once it gets ramped up a little bit.
Yeah.
Which I think is good. All right, what about down in Calgary? Let's dive
Yeah,
into what
I
we
think
have in
that-
Calgary. So Calgary would put there, and we'll talk about Calgary in a second. Had a good chat with Danny Austin on the Nielsen show this morning. Interesting point that he made. But let's get into Calgary. What's happening down in Calgary?
All right. Again, this is Gregor put this out there. Henrique between Skinner and Arvidsson. That's a good line.
So he's a Draisaitl placeholder, basically. Henry.
Yep. Yeah, good point. O'Reilly, who I'm highly encouraged by, this Oilers first round pick from this past June's draft, with Lavoie and Caggiula. Caggiula actually had some spark to his game yesterday. Couldn't hang on to the puck in a couple situations, but he had a nice big hit. He created a little bit of offense, and I think he was the oldest guy on the team yesterday.
He's 30 now.
Outside of Mike Hoffman, there was nothing really from Hoffman yesterday.
He's not making the team.
Probably not. Yeah, good point. So O'Reilly between Lavoie and Caggiula. Caggiula and Lavoie seem, according to this, are on their off wings. Lane Peterson with Mike Hoffman and Derek Ryan. Grube between Stefan and Weatherby. And then on defense, we've got Dermott with Brown, Josh Brown. Deneen with Stetcher. Gleason with Warner. Colin Delia getting the start.
I'm interested to actually see how that blue line holds up against what would
which
be
element?
stronger. Well, just the guys that are down there.
Yeah.
Like Brown
Yeah.
playing for a job. Stetcher playing for a job.
Playing for
Give
a
me the
job.
three blue line pairs again.
Dermott with Brown. So
Okay.
that should...
Dermott trying to get a contract.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's
whether you
two
think he can get
NHL
one or not.
defensemen
Yeah.
there. Deneen with Stetcher.
Deneen's coming off a good game last night.
Yes.
Get Stetcher tonight.
And then Gleason with Warner. And Warner is kind of like the, outside of Boaki, the other D prospect Edmonton kind of has. Right?
Yeah. That's Warner. So it's
Kind of who's progressing, yeah. Delia and net. Delia with the old throwback Ben Scrivens pads with the oil drop in the middle. And Jonas Gustafsson also had those. Remember the monster when he was with the oil?
Man, that's going back quite a ways.
He was a nice guy. He was
The monster.
Yeah.
How much did he play?
Not a lot.
He could not have played very much.
No, not a lot.
The monster. I forgot what he was called. The monster.
The monster.
The monster.
Yeah. He had sick Oilers pads too.
7 games
Yeah.
in 16-17.
Yep.
That was the end of him.
Then it was the LB show. Laurent Brossois. LB with an injury with Chicago. That sucks. It's too bad. Anyway.
All right, so Calgary
Uh-huh.
at home tonight. You got this from I got it from Steinberg here.
Okay,
if you
you
want
go
it.
ahead.
All right, Backlund between Zary and Coleman. Kadri with Kuzmenko and Sharon Govich. That's their top line, basically.
Yeah.
Is that not their top line during the season?
Yeah. Sharon Govich is good. Kuzmenko probably
think
wants
so.
to get another contract. So
Schwint, Klapka, and Lomberg. And then Morton with Basha and Stromgren. And then Uyghur with Miramonov. Solovov and Barry.
okay.
Greshnikov and Hanley. And then Vladar, one of the two goaltenders with Ignatiu as the other one. Maybe a split for both of these. Who knows? So there you go. That's what that's the good group that Calgary will have at home tonight.
Yep.
Okay, so Danny Austin this morning, he was laying it out, and I was how bad are the Flames going to be this year?
Awful.
But like he said, he goes, 3 weeks ago, Danny, who covers the team, said he was thinking they'd be bottom 3 of the league.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll be bottom 3 of the league bad? Like their forward group isn't San Jose comparable.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
You mean the Barracuda that competed as the Sharks last year?
that you got to be pretty bad to be San Jose Sharks.
Yeah.
Man. But I don't like the Flames forward group isn't pathetic. Like there's some good players
There's good
on this team.
veteran
still.
NHLers there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like they're in this spot where, and Flames, if there's any Flames fans watching or listening later on, I'd be very curious. Like, would you rather them just strip this son of a bee down?
I think they have.
And but I mean, Kuzmenko, Sharon Govich, Kadri, Backlund, Coleman, Huberto, Mantha, like those are still good hockey players.
Those are legit NHLers.
Like that's 8 guys I just listed off that are legitimate NHL talent. Lomberg, I mean, considering what just happened, and then there's like Rooney, Walker, Drew, you mentioned like him.
Yeah.
Connor Zary's gonna be something
He's
one
gonna
day.
be good.
Pospisil they're hoping for, but like that, I look at this. I look at the forward group, and now look at the blue line, and maybe it's a different story. And look at the goaltending, maybe it's a different story.
I was just going to go there.
But that blue line group doesn't look at me. I don't look at that and go, "Oh, that's a bottom 3 or 4 team in the league," which I think where Flames fans would probably want to be at to try to get that franchise piece moving forward, which they do not have right now.
Yeah, get into the draft lottery. You said it with the defense and the goaltending. Like Jared Tenorti and Tyson Barrie might make this team. Tenorti on a 2-way deal, Barrie on a PTO. Uyghur's good. Anderson's good. But outside of that, like their defense, and how do you lose games in the NHL? Bad defense, bad goaltending. And those two go hand in hand a lot of times. And we've seen the Oilers struggle with that in recent years even, but they had such good forwards they could kind of make up. Remember, they were winning games 6-5, 7-4. I just think, Vladar has been good sometimes. Dustin Wolf is an evolving, developing NHL goaltender. And then this defense is not good.
They'll be better than the Sharks. Are they better than the Ducks?
Maybe.
Like off the top of my head, I think they're better than the Ducks. The Ducks are young.
They're not better than Utah.
The Ducks are rolling McTavish and Leo Carlson.
Yeah.
And those phenomenal young talents.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong.
Zegras is still there.
But yeah, they're still a little bit younger.
Yeah.
The blue line in Anaheim is very meh-ish as well.
Yeah.
I think Calgary. I don't think Calgary's one of the bottom 2 teams in the division. I think they'll who just texted in? Somebody just texted in. Here we are. Yeah, this one says, guys, as an Oilers fan, the Flames are in the perfect spot. Not good enough to make the playoffs, not bad enough to get good draft picks. And that's kind of how I sort of view them. Jason and Leduc says the Flames roster looks like a modern first-year expansion team.
Seattle's lineup the first year looked better than this lineup. Seattle beat the defending Cup champs the next year, too, in the playoffs.
Yeah. I think they should get worse. That's what I think. In order to get better, I think the Flames need to get worse.
Well, you heard Kadri trade wins swirling last season. Is he going to want to stick around? He's not young anymore. He wants to win. Is he going to see it out with the Flames if they're going through a rebuild?
How do you move that deal, though?
Kadri, you could move easier than
Huberdeau, for sure.
100%. Weren't there talks about like Uyghur and Anderson? Like maybe they want to get shipped out too?
I heard at some point in the offseason, the Oilers were going to get Uyghur.
Of course.
I'm so glad the offseason's over.
Oh.
No more ridiculous rumors that pop up.
I'm sure there will be ridiculous rumors.
Yeah.
I just think Calgary, they're going to be like San Jose made some decent moves. Let's see what Askarov is in net for them. They have a lot of heavy lifting left to do with the Sharks, but Anaheim is kind of stuck in the mud too.
If they retained on Kadri, they could get something for Kadri.
I absolutely agree
he's
with
at
that.
7. You retain a couple. Somebody's going to bring Kadri for $5 million for a few years.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's something you could probably do.
He'll get you 60 to 70 points. I don't think he's got an 85-point season in him again unless he's just on an absolute heater playing on a great team like he was in Colorado, but still a player. He's still great, and he has value.
If you're watching over on YouTube today, hammer the thumbs up for us before you take off. This one is in, and says, guys, the Flames will be bottom 10 most of the year, but I think they'll crater to the bottom 3 after the trade deadline if they move some of their vets, Kadri, Coleman, Rasmus Anderson, Uyghur, who we mentioned. Yeah. And that, to me, that's totally okay for the Calgary Flames. Like, tear this thing down, do it right, get a building, and then you're off and running. Like, I would 100%, if I was the Calgary Flames, my main focus would be to finish dead last, not this year, but next year. Gavin McKenna,
he's looking
from
good.
the Medicine Hat Tigers, is an absolute stud. You grab him, you put him up front, you build your franchise around him moving forward. That should be the end goal. Not at the end of this season, the end of this year, have another really good pick. Draft somebody that you could piece around, and then you're playing your cards. There's the lottery and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I would try to do everything I could to get my hands on McKenna in 2 years if I'm the Calgary Flames.
I'm more than okay with that. And what's unfortunate from a Flame standpoint is 3 years ago, or the 21-22 season, they were the best team in the Western Conference, Dusty. And it fell apart so quickly.
Well, yeah, Gaudreau leaves. Rest in peace, Johnny.
Yes.
Brilliant player,
Yes.
brilliant talent. And then Tkachuk leaves. And it's just like you lose guys like Johnny Gaudreau and Tkachuk, and it's just made the bad call on Huberdeau in that deal, backfired big time. It's funny. Like an organization can go from, hey, heading in the right direction to, oh my God, you have to strip this down
Like
in
that.
one summer. Like in one summer that can happen to you if you're not good at your job.
Your goalie is pissed off because you trade his best friend that happens to be on the team in Lindholm, right? Like they had good depth. They had a rock solid team. They had goaltending, defense. Hannafin wants out, right? Like Hannafin's just going to crush it in Vegas. It has already.
Yeah.
It's
Brilliant pickup.
Northside Sandwich says Oilers killed them. They did.
I mean,
And that was a great series. So much fun to cover, but
it's funny to joke about it, but they kind of did.
it did. It
did.
And the
It
fallout
did.
was so immediate. I don't think anybody around here feels sorry for them.
No.
What I do feel sorry for is people who love the Battle of Alberta and want to see like important Oilers Flames games. Like we had a small sample. Of.
That was an amazing series,
fantastic.
man. Like that was what you're like, and you're thinking at the time, like, okay,
Let's go.
this might be it for a bit.
And the bottom falls out in
And just-
Calgary, and that's it.
See you later.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming the Oilers will win both tonight.
Have a hunch.
Wouldn't that
You're
be-
right.
They should win the game here.
That's right.
I mean, that one is stacked heavily in their favor. So we'll see what happens tonight. All you really want is for your top 5 guys in the power play to come out of the game healthy.
Good
I
point.
literally do not care what else happens in that game tonight. Those 5 guys come out healthy. If they don't, it's a disaster. You got to get through some preseason games. Fingers crossed. Everybody's healthy. Good to go heading towards the regular season.
Yeah.
On Wednesday, the Oil Stream will be live from Boston Pizza in Sherwood Park on Broadway Boulevard, 11 Broadway Boulevard. Myself and Tommy Gazzola, Sherwood Park, Boston Pizza on Wednesday from noon until 1. Swing on out. Join us. If you have kids, bring them because kids eat for free
Hey,
in the month of September. Only at Boston Pizza. So you got that going for you. It is nice. It is nice to have games being played again, buddy. We are so back.
we're so back.
We are so back. It's very exciting.
It's fall. Our crew's here. What a vibe.
Well, Eric and I said today after our show, we're just like, man, this is the time. Like we're almost to that early stage of October where you get hockey, you get CFL playoff stretch. Yes. The Elks are making it somewhat interesting. Lost hurt this weekend, but we'll see what happens. NFL's underway. Baseball playoffs are just around the corner. Hashtag Association City. Like it just, we're back, baby. We're back. So tell your friends about Edmonton Sports Talk. They can listen on TuneIn. They can listen on Our Heart, and they'll say, oh, it's really tough. It's not. If they have a phone, you have an app, you push one button and it plays. You just have to teach them how to do it.
Or you just say to your phone.
Yeah, that's
please,
true too.
I say, hey, please play Edmonton Sports Talk. Most
you
of
say
the time.
please too.
I don't
You're
say
very
please.
polite to your phone, Tommy.
And well, I shouldn't be the way it hasn't taken care of me.
That's a
since
good
I've
point.
gotten it.
That's a good point.
But anyway, that's how simple it is. And iHeart, we got to really get that out there. iHeart TuneIn, so easy to listen.
Super
on your
simple,
device.
man.
Yeah.
Most other radio stations in the city, AM or FM, are already promoting you to go to iHeart.
Yeah.
Because they know radio's dying. So when you go to iHeart, when they tell you go to iHeart, just be like, oh,
I'm already there.
there's the boys. So it works out well. We got EST afternoons coming up. Hernan Salas, Joaquin Gage, the Reed Wilkins Show, locked and loaded from 3 until 6 today. Reed was at the game. He's got a ton of thoughts on that.
Yep.
2 great shows. If you have not checked them out yet, if you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart, stay right here. Do not go anywhere. If you're watching over on YouTube right now, just turn on autoplay, and that'll take you right on over to EST afternoons with Hernan. I know Hernan's got some hot takes on the Elks.
He's a
pacing
spicy
out
boy.
there. He's pacing in the bullpen. This
go.
guy's fired up for the birthday boy, Tommy Gazzola. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you, brother. Love
39.
ya.
Looks like he's 24 years old, especially with that facial hair. I'm Dustin Nielson. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning on The Nielsen Show. Take it easy.